For weeks, the silence surrounding Kensington Palace had become impossible to ignore. Every royal appearance seemed carefully planned. Every official statement sounded deliberately measured. Yet the one question everyone kept asking remained unanswered. Why wasn't Prince William speaking? As speculation spread across television, newspapers, and social media, millions of people waited for a moment that many believed would never come. Then, without warning, everything changed. It didn't happen during a major royal ceremony or an emergency press conference. There were no dramatic announcements or breaking news alerts. Instead, it happened during what appeared to be an ordinary public engagement. Prince William stepped forward with the same calm expression people had seen for years. He smiled, greeted the crowd, and paused for a brief moment before speaking. No one realized that those next few minutes would completely change the conversation surrounding the royal family. His voice wasn't loud. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't designed to create sensational headlines. Instead, it carried something much more powerful: quiet confidence. Every sentence was delivered with remarkable composure, and that alone captured the attention of millions. For the first time in weeks, people weren't hearing anonymous palace insiders or endless media speculation. They were hearing directly from the man who will one day become king. Within minutes, clips of the speech flooded social media. News anchors interrupted regular programming. Television panels immediately began discussing every word, every pause, and every expression. Yet what fascinated people most wasn't the speech itself. It was William's calm demeanor. He looked completely comfortable under extraordinary public attention, as though he understood exactly what the country needed to see. Longtime royal observers noticed something different almost immediately. William appeared more confident than ever before. His posture reflected quiet strength. His expressions remained relaxed. There was no sign of frustration or pressure despite weeks of intense public scrutiny. Rather than reacting to rumors, he focused entirely on the responsibilities that have defined his public life for years. Inside Kensington Palace, every public appearance is carefully planned. Every sentence spoken by a senior royal carries enormous weight because millions of people around the world analyze every detail. William understood that responsibility perfectly. Instead of addressing every headline or responding to speculation, he spoke about something much larger than temporary public debates. His message centered on service, responsibility, and the importance of remaining focused during uncertain times. That simple approach immediately changed the public conversation. People weren't looking for dramatic accusations or emotional confrontations. They wanted reassurance. They wanted stability. Most importantly, they wanted to see calm leadership. William delivered exactly that without raising his voice or attempting to dominate the headlines. Sometimes the strongest message is the one delivered with complete confidence rather than dramatic emotion. As the event continued, photographers captured dozens of candid moments that quickly spread around the world. William spent extra time greeting families, speaking with volunteers, and listening carefully to the people he met. Those unscripted interactions revealed a different side of his personality, one that often receives less attention than major royal events. Instead of rushing through the schedule, he appeared fully engaged with every conversation. The response was immediate. Across the United Kingdom, public discussion slowly shifted away from palace speculation and toward William's leadership. Commentators began describing his appearance as one of his strongest public performances in recent years. Others pointed out that confidence isn't always measured by dramatic speeches. Sometimes it's revealed through patience, consistency, and the ability to remain composed when public pressure reaches its highest point. International audiences noticed the same thing. Viewers in the United States, Canada, Australia, and across Europe shared clips online, praising William's calm and measured approach. Many compared his leadership style to the quiet confidence that had long been associated with Queen Elizabeth II. It wasn't because he tried to imitate her. It was because his actions reflected the same steady sense of duty that had earned public respect for generations. Meanwhile, life inside the palace continued as usual. Meetings remained on schedule. Charitable projects moved forward. Future engagements were quietly prepared behind closed doors. From the outside, everything appeared perfectly normal. Yet those paying close attention sensed that something important had changed. The conversation was no longer about silence. It had become a conversation about the future, without making dramatic promises, without criticizing anyone, and without responding directly to weeks of speculation. Prince William had successfully redirected public attention towards something much more meaningful. His message reminded people that lasting leadership isn't built on headlines. It's built on consistency, responsibility, and trust. As William prepared to leave the engagement, cameras briefly captured a quiet conversation between him and one of his senior aides. The exchange lasted only a few seconds, but both men appeared unusually serious. There was no official explanation. No statement followed. Yet for those watching closely, that brief moment raised a brand new question. If today's appearance had already changed the public conversation, what was about to happen next? The brief exchange lasted less than 10 seconds. No microphones captured the conversation. No official statement followed. Yet the expressions on both faces were enough to spark a new wave of curiosity. As Prince William stepped into his waiting vehicle, cameras continued rolling, hoping to capture one more clue. They didn't. Within seconds, the doors closed, the convoy pulled away, and the questions only grew louder. Over the following days, something remarkable began to happen. The headlines slowly changed. Instead of asking why William had remained silent, newspapers and broadcasters began discussing what his appearance actually represented. The focus shifted away from speculation and toward leadership. For the first time in weeks, the public conversation felt noticeably different. Inside Kensington Palace, preparations for upcoming engagements continued at their usual pace. Schedules were reviewed, meetings were held, and charitable projects remained a top priority. To palace staff, consistency had always been one of the institution's greatest strengths. Regardless of public attention, the work never stopped. That quiet discipline had defined the monarchy for generations, and William appeared determined to continue that tradition. His next public engagement reinforced that impression. There were no dramatic announcements waiting for the cameras. Instead, he spent the day meeting community leaders, volunteers, and young people working to improve their neighborhoods. Rather than delivering a lengthy speech, William chose to listen. He asked thoughtful questions, laughed naturally with families, and thanked volunteers for their dedication. Those simple moments quickly became some of the most shared images of the week. People noticed that nothing about his behavior appeared forced. Every conversation felt genuine. Every interaction seemed effortless. Instead of trying to dominate the spotlight, he allowed the people around him to become the center of attention. Ironically, that approach made him stand out even more. Commentators soon pointed out an important pattern. William wasn't attempting to change public opinion through carefully crafted headlines. He was allowing consistency to speak louder than controversy. In an era where every public figure faces constant pressure to react instantly, his patience offered a striking contrast. As more engagements followed, public confidence continued to grow. Polls suggested that many people appreciated his calm approach to leadership. Rather than responding emotionally to every new rumor, he remained focused on long-term responsibilities. That steady approach reminded many observers that true leadership is often measured over months and years, not through a single speech or one memorable headline. International interest also continued to expand. News organizations across North America, Europe, and Australia covered William's appearances, highlighting the same qualities that audiences had begun noticing at home. His composure, professionalism, and ability to remain focused under intense public attention became defining themes of the coverage. Instead of asking what crisis might come next, many people began asking what kind of King William would eventually become. Meanwhile, behind palace walls, long-term planning quietly continued. The royal family has always balanced centuries-old traditions with the realities of a changing world. That responsibility becomes even greater for the next generation. Environmental initiatives, mental health programs, support for veterans, and youth development projects remained central to William's work. While those efforts rarely generated dramatic headlines, they reflected the larger role he had been preparing for throughout his adult life. Perhaps that was the biggest lesson from the entire episode. Leadership isn't always about delivering unforgettable speeches. Sometimes it's about showing up consistently, listening carefully, and remaining steady when expectations become overwhelming. William never claimed to have all the answers. Instead, He demonstrated that confidence often comes from remaining focused on service rather than personal attention. By the end of the week, the atmosphere surrounding the monarchy felt noticeably calmer. Public discussion had evolved from uncertainty to cautious optimism. The silence that once fueled endless speculation had been replaced by a renewed sense of stability. Without attacking critics or responding to every rumor, William had quietly changed the direction of the conversation. As one final engagement came to an end, William paused before leaving the venue. A young child standing behind the crowd barriers handed him a handwritten note. He smiled warmly, thanked the child personally, and carefully placed the letter inside his folder instead of handing it to an aide. The gesture lasted only a few seconds, but photographers captured the entire moment. Within hours, that single image appeared across newspapers and television broadcasts around the world. For many people, it represented everything they had witnessed throughout the week. Calm leadership, genuine kindness, quiet confidence, no dramatic performance, no carefully staged moment, just a simple interaction that reminded people why authenticity still matters. As evening settled over London, the palace gates closed once again. Reporters packed their equipment. Crowds slowly disappeared. The day's headlines were written, and the cameras finally stopped recording. It felt like the story had reached its natural conclusion. But inside the palace, preparations for another important appearance were already underway. No details were released. No announcement explained the purpose. Only one date quietly appeared on the royal calendar. And almost instantly, one question returned to the minds of millions around the world. If this week marked the beginning of a new chapter for Prince William, what would the next chapter reveal?